Yes,
So,
compared to when I used it earlier today.
yeah, I know, it's weird. It's like completely different. And I had a session and I couldn't find all the, I couldn't, like this morning, I didn't know where everything was. So it was weird. Anyway,
Getting used to it all over, so these
exactly.
change far quicker than what we can get used to.
Yeah. All right, there's Anna Marie. I guess Zoom did really well. And they got lots of
Mhm.
money to keep updating and changing because, I mean, during COVID, everybody was Zooming, right? And Teamsing.
Yes. Yeah, and I see it's becoming the norm now
Yeah,
to on Zoom, and I guess much more convenient.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have live meetings anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, back in the day, there was no sort of, all we had was, I remember Skype. That was like the only thing we had. And the connections were bad. So I don't know, not great. But anyway, world has changed.
Yeah, although Skype is still kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think gone are the days where we drive to the meetings and
Yeah. Yeah. Saving petrol, which is a good thing.
yes, absolutely.
All right. Kerry, will you be sharing slides or anything like that?
Yes, I will. So let me see if I can get all of it up and running.
Okay, cool.
And so I'm going to have some music playing as well.
Okay.
Right. Can you see that?
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a beautiful slide.
Fantastic. All right. So let me see.
Gosh.
Thank you. All right. Let me see if you are able to hear this music. And let me know if it is a little bit too loud or if you need me to turn the volume up.
Okay, go for it.
Um, so it should start coming through now.
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yep. Okay. Perfect. And its volume is fine. Do you want it a bit louder? Is it
No.
good?
Volume's fine. Volume's good.
Okay. Fantastic. Hi, so hi everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight and for being patient with me as my presentation moved a couple of times. Life has been quite unpredictable lately. So even though it's just the three of us, I'd still like to start off with a disclaimer because my topic is focused on grief and vulnerability. It may not be a topic that everyone is ready to tackle. And so, if you feel that it may be triggering or you are simply not in a space to hear it, then I completely accept and understand if you choose to exit the meeting. But if not, thank you very much for staying and let us start our walk through this topic of mindfulness for grief and meditation. So, grief is something that no person is exempt from, and one that has the potential to swallow us whole. So, in learning how to be vulnerable with others and allowing them the space to be vulnerable with you, you create room for connection and empathy, which are invaluable when going through periods of grief. So, mindfulness emerges as a gentle guide, offering solace and understanding in the midst of emotional turbulence. It opens up space within us to accept and embrace vulnerability while creating and nurturing healthy strategies to carry ourselves through grief. Gabor Mate, who has spent years studying grief, trauma, and its implications, believes that knowing oneself comes from attending with compassionate curiosity to what is happening within. And through this compassionate curiosity, we have the ability to sit with the thoughts and emotions
Kerry,
that, mm,
sorry, the music's actually cutting your voice out a little bit. Uh,
okay, no problem.
I think it's best
Let
maybe
me,
just to turn it off. It's a
okay, no
it's a
problem.
Zoom thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's no problem. All right, is that better? I'm not getting cut off. It's not
Yeah,
a net connection.
as you talk, the music goes, and then the music cuts you off. So it's a
Yeah,
Zoom thing, unfortunately.
okay. No problem. That is all right. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so through this compassionate curiosity, we have the ability to sit with the thoughts and emotions that come crashing down on us when we do experience grief. And it is not something that is experienced simply through death, but rather an experience that is multifaceted and complex. We find ourselves in grief when we change jobs, lose our favorite pair of shoes, move town, move through periods of transition. And as we can see on the slide, so many, many more things. And yeah, it's something to always be aware of, that it does show up in different areas and different places. So it does, however, hit us most deeply when our blueprint for love of and from a person changes. And this shows most clearly in death. Mary Catherine Bateson, a writer and cultural anthropologist, wrote on the many virtues of life, and through her and her parents' studies on various cultures and tribes throughout the decades, she has been allowed a unique look into the emotions of people and the phases of their lives. She believes that the timing of death, like the ending of a story, gives a changed meaning to what preceded it. And this transition is where mindfulness has the ability to truly make a lasting impact. It also gives us the tools for vulnerability, which aids in helping through grief. And so the process moves on a loop, one helping the other to in turn help the other. And living in a space of vulnerability nurtures greater strength, stronger relationships with the ones that we love, and improved self acceptance. The self acceptance being a key point when moving through grief, as there are all too many times where we have acted from a place of inauthenticity to quell the pain of loss, which can lead to deeper and more profound feelings of sorrow. So, when we are in a realm of grief, acting from inauthenticity and reacting from pain, we are in a greater need for vulnerability with ourselves and with and from others. Brene Brown, a leading researcher and psychologist, considers vulnerability to be the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. Vulnerability may not come naturally to us as we continue to guard against judgments, gossip, and labels. However, mindfulness has the potential to garner our inner and acceptance, allowing us to become more vulnerable in situations that call for it. And as mindfulness continues to be the talking point and focus of much research within the mental health industry, results are often conflicted and difficult to quantify. However, the MADED program, which took place in Spain, researched mindfulness for acceptance of pain and emotions in grief. And its results have shown that mindfulness allows the regulation of affection, including a deeper awareness, understanding, and acceptance of emotions, and a greater ability to regulate unpleasant moods. So developing consciousness and post-traumatic growth through mindfulness, we have the ability to begin untangling this knot of grief. Moving through grief is by no means linear, nor is there an end date. But through mindfulness and vulnerability, we have the tools to make the process a little bit easier and the journey a little smoother. So with all of this information, it helps to have the help in moving through periods of difficulty and in a healthy way by using meditation and mindfulness. So through meditation and mindfulness, we are able to practice to be present in the moment, to acknowledge our pain instead of being consumed by it. And as I have been moving through my own periods of grief during our mindfulness journey, these are some of the meditation practices that I have found to be particularly helpful and hopefully can help the next person as well. So first we have the body scan, which has been beautifully explained and taught by many of my fellow classmates. And the body scan, it allows us to identify areas in our body in which we are holding on to pain and sadness. And this awareness invites us to hold space for those areas and to be mindful of them as we move through our days. So next we have another one as RAIN, a process that was developed by Michelle McDonald and popularized by Tara Brach. So RAIN assists us by creating a space to recognize our emotions, allow the emotions to be there in their natural form and without judgment, to investigate those feelings with care, interest, and compassion. And finally, to nurture with self-compassion. And all of this brings together a gentle and beautiful approach to managing and processing grief. Then we have affirmations, and they can help to remind us and reset our thought patterns to something that is forward focused, inviting us to look towards the future that, although different, is just as beautiful. And these affirmations, they can be words that we have knitted together ourselves or ones that we are borrowing from others, but as long as they are true to us, their power can be life-changing. And lastly, we have breath work, another form that has been wonderfully illustrated by others in this class. And breath work It helps to settle our nervous system, which helps us to be present and aware of how we are feeling and where we are in our journey. The emotions that come from grief can often be paralyzing. And so, in moments where I have struggled from loss and anxiety, breathwork is often the first tool in my toolkit that I turn to, whether it is through breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, or simply just counting the seconds. So as we near the end of my presentation, I'd like to pull a quote from Buddha, who believes that there is a way to be purified, to overcome sorrows and grief, to release suffering, to secure the right path, to realize nirvana. And this is to be mindful. And isn't reaching nirvana what we are all after in this life, regardless of the term that we use for it or the label that various religions place on it? Is our goal in life not to find peace and acceptance and to simply just live a life of ease? So, as homework, I'd like for each of you to practice compassion for yourself in areas where you are experiencing grief and hardship. I will leave you with some options in how you may do this, such as writing a letter filled with kindness for yourself, repeating compassionate affirmations, or expressing gratitude to those in your life in whatever way and form feels most natural for you. If you have your own ways in which you practice compassion, I welcome you to share them at the end so that we may continue to learn and grow with each other. To bring the circle to a close, I invite you to join me for a period of peaceful meditation. And during this meditation, you are welcome to switch off your cameras and do whatever you feel is most comfortable and most natural for you. So if you don't mind, I too will be switching off my camera, but I will be keeping my mic active. So as we meditate tonight on moments of loss and vulnerability, please do whatever it is that you feel drawn to while being conscious to remain connected. To begin, sit in a position that brings you comfort. Switch off your cameras and mic if that feels right for you. Gently close your eyes or direct them just past your nose, allowing your vision to blur. Breathing naturally for a few moments. Lovingly place your hands over your heart, allowing your breath to settle in your stomach as the heat from your hands connects with your heart space. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Feeling your stomach expanding with each breath. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Moving your breath from your stomach into your chest. Hold your left hand over your heart as you move to place your right hand on your forehead, allowing your 3 center fingers to connect with your third eye space. Holding your right hand there, gently allow your palm to rest against your nose. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Feel the movement of your chest as it rises and falls with every breath. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Maintaining this rhythm, feel the warmth from your exhale, letting it comfort you, reminding you that you are here, you are in your body, and you are safe. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Allow your nervous system to settle as you focus on the rise and fall of your chest. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Imagine that your pain is a bird and you are holding it gently in your hands. Acknowledge this pain, this bird, with tenderness, love, and compassion. Breathing in through your nose And breathing out through your nose. If you haven't already, when you notice your right hand becoming heavy and tired, slowly drop it to your heart or your lap. Move it to the area that needs your attention. Letting your breath move through you as you bear witness to the emotions that come up for you. Acknowledging them as always with tenderness, love, and compassion before gently letting them go. Knowing that letting them go does not mean forgetting, but rather creating space for the gratitude and appreciation for what was, for what it gave to you, and for what is to come. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Bringing your breathing back to its normal pace. Coming to the present now, we take note of how our hands feel, slowly moving our head and rolling our shoulders, swaying our body as we allow energy to move through it with love and awareness, compassion and vulnerability. And slowly opening our eyes or refocusing our gaze, bringing acceptance into your non-acceptance, bringing surrender into your non-surrender, and then seeing what happens. So with all of my sincere thanks, with all of my sincerity, thank you very much for joining me here tonight. I know it was much longer than what we had anticipated with closing off the mindfulness journey. But I do hope that this presentation and the meditation assisted in some way in carving out a space for you to settle into and find vulnerability and compassion through mindfulness in moments of grief. And that is all.
Thank you, Kerry. It was just so pretty, so beautiful, everything. Wow, the slides, the pace. I just really enjoyed it. So I'm going to ask Anna Marie to comment perhaps before I give you my official feedback.
No problem.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Yes, I agree with Mark. Let me start with the positive. I want to congratulate you with the meditation. It was, I think the pace was fine, and I think anybody that did it, they feel more relaxed and more in tune. And you know, if someone listened to your voice to do what you said the person had to do, you will definitely feel much better afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
So that is very important. Mark, I just want to ask you this, a presentation, is it now supposed to speak to people that don't know anything about mindfulness? I just want to ask.
Yes and no.
Okay, so then
So
I'm just asking this because
yeah,
what I'm going to say now. So, Kerry, what I think you could remember to do in future if you do something like this,
Yeah.
remember to start to find out how are they now, that you can connect, how was your day, where would you rate yourself, because then you also know where are the people.
Yeah.
And normally what the other people did afterwards, they will say, how do you feel now, after the relaxation and everything. People will say, yes, I feel more relaxed and I feel more connected. So I think that is actually very important with any even if I do my counseling, I always ask them, where are they now? I don't just start because maybe they had a terrible day and then I would miss them. Then what I think, remember, I'm not an expert, but that's why I'm asking Mark. If you don't really know about mindfulness, I think now if I would do it with my clients and they don't know anything about mindfulness, and maybe I would also define define mindfulness. You said it's being present in the moment, but open-heartedness, non-reactivity, and no judgment. I would actually emphasize that a bit more because it's a new concept to them. And then the examples you gave, like the body scan, maybe go a bit slower that they can understand, what you mean. Not to say you must go through everything, because remember, it's new to them. And the next one you said, the breathing. Okay, the meditation. What was the other thing? But I would go slower and maybe just explain it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because many times, people connect to something. It's not if they will think that will really work with me. And I think what Mark also did, allow for questions. Is it clear to you that it's not just a lecture? But at one stage, I almost felt it was a lecture. And I don't think it must be a lecture. It must be communicating. And communicating is always, this is what I give. Did you get my message? And so that's what I want to say. But overall, thank you very much. And well done.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much for your feedback.
Okay.
oh, that's really good feedback, Anna Marie. I actually agree with everything you said. Yeah, so I think I just want to offer, just to build on what Anna Marie was saying, the check-in. Yeah, I mean, the check-in is quite important. I've done some sessions on grief, and let's say you're going to do this again. What you could do is, I mean, you had that ball,
The knot of
a
grief.
knot,
Yeah.
and you can ask a question around that. You could have brought that maybe in the beginning and said, because there's so many words in that knot. And so you could say what word resonates with you today, if any of them. Are you in a knot today? And is there a word that resonates with you? Do you mind pulling that slide back up, Kerry?
Yeah, of
It
course.
was just such a
Let me
powerful
actually-
image.
No.
And it just took Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's work to another level, There it is, yeah. Because obviously it reminded me of the 5 stages of grief.
Yes.
But this has got so much more. And yeah, there are 5 main stages, but I think there's a lot of offshoots, I see some of these words are repeated. Is it rage? Yeah. Rage, I see a few times.
Yeah, I think rage comes up quite a lot.
Yeah. Abandonment. Okay, but I mean, people can look at this and go, all right, well, yeah, this is my grief. And I think people would, people would check in because you're not asking them to explain why or what they're feeling. They can just check in with a word. Anna Marie, do you think that
Yeah.
would be appropriate?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a good place to do that.
To spend some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get everybody to unmute. I just pop it in the chat. And it's an eye opener as well. People are being a bit vulnerable, in choosing their word. All right, thanks for the slide. You can take it down. Yeah, I also felt that, Kerry, you over the last few weeks, you didn't feel quite ready to present. And you then decided, okay, tonight's the night. I thought that was good. I thought that was wise to give yourself the space and the time to work on your presentation and to deliver it. You put a lot of work in. I can see that. There's a lot of work that you put in. So I'm really grateful for that. Your slides were absolutely amazing. Pity the music didn't work because it was nice.
Yeah, it set the tone quite a lot, specifically for the meditation, but
Okay.
one of those things.
Yeah, it's Zoom. You got to blame Zoom. Teams is much better actually when it comes to playing music, but not so on Zoom. It's a glitch in the program.
Yeah.
I like the disclaimer in the beginning. If this is going to trigger you or cause you trauma around the topic, then maybe it's not for you. I thought that was really smart, really skillful. You speak very well. It just flows. It sounds like you're talking from the heart. Maybe you were reading, maybe you weren't. I don't know. You can't tell. You look amazing. You showed up well. I can see you got your lights there going because they reflected in your glasses, that like little ring tube there. So
Yeah.
yeah. So and it's good. It casts a nice even light, good background. Let's see. Yeah, the imagery was stunning, and Gabor Mate's quote, listing all the things that we could go through. That slide was really good. That cause us grief, and again, you could say, guys, if you want to check in around any of these, anybody going through any of these right now,
Yeah.
So you could do a double check-in, or you could just use that one to check in, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Interesting to link mindfulness to the topic. I think it worked very well. So grief, vulnerability, mindfulness. I mean, yeah, vulnerability is probably one of my favorite subjects. Brené Brown.
Very difficult one.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just such a wrong word, really. There should be another word. I don't know, openness, or I don't know. But, as soon as people hear the word vulnerable, it sounds weak and it sounds scared and afraid, and Brené Brown just keeps on challenging that. But I don't think there's a proper word in English. Anna Marie, is there a proper word in Afrikaans for this?
I say kwesbaarheid, but
Kwesbaarheid.
Kwesbaar.
Oh, bar. Wow.
There isn't really, but I think the closest is kwesbaarheid, but it's also, but definitely many people have this connotation, you're weak, and a person must be strong and they must be able to face things, but of course it's not true.
Yeah.
That's not a sign of how strong you are. If you pretend nothing is affecting you, especially in loss or bereavement.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think the link between vulnerability and grief is so important, right? Because, it's kind of reaching out and letting people know that you're in pain, know that you're suffering. And in that comes the healing. Very good. And how mindfulness facilitates that process and helps us to recognize and open us up more. It's really smart. Is it something you came across, or did you put this together yourself? Like grief?
No, I put it together myself because, during this whole course, I've been going through quite a lot of grief that has just kind of stacked one after the other. And so it was more just from acknowledging where I was in it and how I was using the meditation and mindfulness to navigate it.
Yeah, amazing. And I think everybody can relate. I think we're all grieving over something,
Mm.
you know. Um, anyway, I just felt like, I wasn't alone in my grief. And
Yeah.
that's just like it's a thing we go through, and it's a thing we always
Mm.
go through. Um, I like the MADED, what's MADED, the findings. That was
Mhm.
great. Again, the knot of grief was brilliant. You're saying that mindfulness makes the journey better and smoother. Like those words. And also what worked for you, a personal account. We got some insights. Kerry's been going through something. We knew that there's something going on. We don't know what's going on. You sort of stop at a point and didn't become too vulnerable. And it was fine. It was fine. Um, and what worked for you. So that was cool. And body scan. Yeah, I agree with Anna Marie. Could have been a bit more detailed in the unpacking of what that is and why it
Mhm.
works, how it works. Um, but yeah, rain again, excellent. Yeah, not too many people speak on rain, so it's nice that you picked that one up. And I didn't know it wasn't Tara Brach's. So
Yeah,
nice.
that was very interesting for me as well to find that out because she is such a face of it.
Yeah, yeah, nice. I wonder how the other lady feels. What's her name?
Mhm. Michelle McDonald.
Sean McDonald. Okay, yeah. Interesting, eh? Then affirmations, breath work, very good. Uh, the slide transitions were great. The animation, the movement. I don't know how you did all of that, but it was really good. You're obviously very skilled at PowerPoint or something.
No, not at
No?
all. But thank you.
Oh, super. Um, there was one thing that I liked. The homework was great. Self-compassion. If you experience grief and hardship, writing a letter is really good. I think that could really work for people. Um, Affirmations, expressing gratitude. You said that we were gonna share how we would practice compassion at the end, but
Yes, yeah, if there was a way that you practice it to be able to share it at the end.
okay. So you could have then reminded us at the end. Oh,
Mhm.
if we're going to go back to if there is, because I was kind of waiting. I thought that could have been some nice engagement.
Yeah,
So I thought it was really skillful, but I needed a prompt at the end to,
yeah, to just loop back to it.
yeah, because
Mhm.
like let's just say I've got 30 minutes, okay? Then I've heard your presentation. You can extend that 30 minutes by inviting people to share their story. Then I'm like, okay, well, I got to log off. Everybody else is sharing. I've heard Kerry's presentation. I'm happy. I'm going to log off.
Mhm.
That can work. That can work. But you just needed to prompt us and say, guys, remember,
Yes.
because if I didn't write it down, I would have forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the language of mindfulness. There's a certain language and a style. You've got it. Um, yeah, if I switched off my camera in my corporate space, people wouldn't like it, and
Okay.
I'd be criticized for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Personally, I don't have a problem with what you did because people shouldn't be looking at you. They should be, closing their
Yeah, I
eyes.
wanted to limit
Yeah, the
the
distraction.
potential distraction.
I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. I understand that. That's why I can't really critique it. I get critiqued because only 5% of people on the call out of 200 are going to be closing their eyes, and everybody else is just
Mm-hmm.
going to be looking and enjoying and getting some sort of entertainment out of the session.
Yeah.
But do people actually practice in the session? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I can't, but I think in this context, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You gave a lot of really nice pauses, lots of space in the practice. I didn't feel like you were rushing through it. Um, your presentation was minimalist. It was simple. It was mindful. You didn't bomb us with tons of content and lots of
Yeah.
copy. Um, the the meditation itself was really good. I enjoyed the placing of the hands. I was trying to do it all, but I had to type as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed that. It kind of like helps us focus. I think if you got your hands in a position.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you pitch this to, there's a couple of things. There's two things that I would say a little bit risky. You spoke of the third eye.
Yes.
Um, Now, more spiritual type people would resonate with that. New Age people, that sort of thing. Uh, Yogis, Buddhists. But if you got like a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or whatever, they might find that sort of weird and they might think, oh, here we go, some
Yeah,
Indian stuff.
into the woo-woo. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So just be cautious of bringing, just say, you know, your forehead or the space between your brow. Sometimes, if I say third eye in a corporate session, they'll shoot me down.
Yeah.
Buddha, if you say Buddha, they'll shoot you down. My colleague Rafilwe got absolutely crapped out because she had a Buddha statue in the background.
Mm.
And, she's an African lady. I mean, she's just got an ornament. It's not like she's a Buddhist or worships Buddha, but it was on a corporate session she got moaned at.
Yeah.
So, you got to just be mindful of those things, depending on where you pitch this. Who's your audience? Will it be appropriate or not? If it's a room full of yogis, yeah, then it's fine. If it's corporate, nah, too risky. Um, you got to gauge your audience. Um, I enjoyed the hands. The hands made me feel very focused. Good breath instruction. Um, you kept on bringing me back to the moment when my mind started drifting. The affirmations were great. You saying you are in your body and you're safe. I love that. The rise and fall of your chest. Very clear instruction. Not overwhelmed by too much. You didn't go off on a tangent. But I was thinking at one point towards the end of your practice, but how does this link to my grief and my vulnerability? And then as I thought that, you said, imagine your pain as a bird.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's the thread, and you brought it in, and now I get it. And then, you gave me a break as well, which was really compassionate and kind, to say if your hand is getting tired, you can drop your hand if you like. You don't have to keep it there the whole time. I like that. I like that because it shows empathy to the people in your class. What are they going through? If they're feeling discomfort, physical discomfort, then they can shift, they can change. I like that. Yeah, then the way you ended the practice was also really nice. You know, slowly to move your head and your shoulders. And then I think the most wonderful words you said, bringing acceptance into non-acceptance,
Mm.
bringing surrender into non-surrender. I was like, wow, that's so cool. What a cool thing to say, you know, kind of wrapped it all up. Um, and just made it for me very clear. But I think, yeah, Anna Marie's right. You know, like if I didn't know what mindfulness was, I might still be questioning, but I'm not,
Yeah, a little bit lost.
you know, what is mindfulness? Did we, you know, maybe just tie that up a little bit more, just
Mm.
tighten up on that a bit more. Um, yeah, I think, I mean, that's pretty much, you know, all my feedback. But I mean, yes, there's a couple of points we've brought up that need a bit of work, but overall, you know, I mean, the majority of your teach back was really good, you know, and I think you would make a fantastic teacher and a facilitator. Um, and obviously, the more you do it, the easier it's going to be for you, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I think, you know, like with everything, um, you just get more and more confident.
Mm.
So, I mean, where would you take this to? You know, who would you teach mindfulness to?
Yeah, so I'd imagine teaching it privately on a person-to-person basis, more one-on-one classes, rather than presenting it to corporate companies and that. I mean, I live in a small town in the Eastern Cape, so corporate isn't really a big thing here anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, then that would work beautifully, you know, as a one-on-one, would work wonderfully, actually. Um, and could actually form some kind of a council, some
Mm.
sort of mindful counseling, you know. I think it could be really sweet. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to go and how you would promote that or market it or grow it. I think it could work really well. Um, you know, I've seen some incredible things from students. Antoinette, she wasn't in this group, hey? I just wanted to check. She's in the Thursday group. So
Mhm.
there's a lady in the Cape. Her name's Antoinette Schmittel, and she did the course the second time. So what she did is she's got all these singing bowls, these crystal singing bowls.
Yes. Yeah, they're amazing.
Uh, so she just decided to go and I think she sat down in Tokai Forest. I think it's Tokai in Cape Town, and she just put her bowls out and started playing them. And then one person came, sat down, another person came, sat down. Then a week later, she went back and she did the same thing. She didn't advertise it. She didn't put out stuff on social media, nothing. She just, every Sunday at the same time, she would go into the forest with her bowls and just play.
Yeah.
She now has an audience of 90 people.
Wow.
That,
That's
that
incredible.
90 people and growing that come with
Mm.
blankets and mattresses, ground sheets, whatever, and they lie down. And she does her bowls and then she leads them in a meditation. So she's, you know, you never know where it can go and how it can grow, even in a small town.
Yeah.
You create a space, and the next thing you know, whoop,
There's people.
Is there a yoga teacher there? Like a yoga studio?
Yes, I think there's maybe two or three yoga studios here.
Would be nice to do a little morning workshop. Go to the yoga studio and say, hey, I've got this thing on grief and vulnerability and mindfulness. So, it's a 2-3 hour workshop.
Mm,
They'll help you. They probably say, yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
They'll advertise it for you. You offer them a 30% cut or whatever. And that's how I started,
Mm,
just teaching in yoga studios. So anyway, Kerry, I'm always happy to help you and anybody else for that matter, that is wanting to implement it from the get-go, hit the ground running.
yeah.
I've got another 2 intakes for the next training in September. And the one lady said, yeah, I can get a degree in mindfulness through IMISA, the University of Stellenbosch. So I said, that's great, that's very good. It's a 2-year program, probably cost close to 300,000 Rand, very detailed, and you get it, through the university, which is great. But I find when these people finish, they got their degree, but then they say, well, what do I do now with it? How do I start? And a lot of the time they don't.
Yeah, it just sits there and gathers dust.
Yeah, it's like a paper trail, and then it ends, and you got a certificate on your wall to say you've got a degree, and that's it. What good is it really? Without an implementation. So I like to think that this is not. I can't compare this to what the university is offering in any way. But what I'd like to think is that people feel inspired and empowered to just get going, just do it. Whether it's a corporate space, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's for your family or at a yoga studio or wherever, just go for it. Get going, do it. It's like swimming. I don't know if you get a degree in swimming, but swimming is a practice, and mindfulness is a practice too.
Yeah.
So whatever's a practice can be done by practicing, and you can be experienced through the practice. We're not here to counsel people. We're not here to fix people, or Anna Marie's a professional in her field. We are just here to hold space. And yes, you may have people coming to you and asking for advice and whatnot. That's in your personal capacity. But when I introduced this program to Rand Merchant Bank and First Rand, the biggest problem were that facilitators now thought that they were therapists.
Yeah.
And I was like, let people figure their own stuff out through the practice. Let them move closer into the grief without suppressing, denying, running away from it, but to recognize it with mindfulness, to be vulnerable, and just experience it. And that's pretty much what you did. That was your job. So, yeah, it made me feel better, actually. Personally, I enjoyed it. It made me feel good, made me feel better.
Thank you.
It actually, ticked a few boxes, lifted my spirits a little, and it worked.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's it for tonight, and that's the program.
Yeah,
and
that's the program.
yeah, thanks for ending it so well. And Anna Marie,
Yes, thank you for allowing the patience and everything.
It's my pleasure. And Anna Marie, thanks for attending tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for everything, all the insight, all the guidance, and the facilitation. It was very meaningful. Thanks.
Excellent.
And thank you, Kerry, for tonight.
Thank you, and thank you for the feedback.
Brilliant.
Okay, no, only a pleasure.
Okay, Kerry,
Okay.
I'll send you a message. Just going to make a couple of notes, and I'll, contact you personally about your results and so on.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
goodbye.
good night, everyone.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Bye now.